All right, it's Friday, and we are doing the Wu Zi, one of the seven military texts, one of the seven ancient military texts. We are in chapter 2, verse 2. Wu Qi said, there are 8 scenarios in which you may join battle without needing to use divination. 1. If a fierce wind is blowing or it is very cold, then march by night and cross rivers on rafts. Do not worry about a little hardship on the way. Verse 2. In the fiercest heat of summer, set out late in the day and then move quickly without resting throughout the night. March without eating or drinking to cover more ground. 3. When the enemy has run out of rations, the locals are discontented. Rumors have begun to spread, and the army's leaders cannot control the situation. 4. If the army's supplies are exhausted and it is low on firewood or hay, and the weather is overcast or rainy, the army has no place to raid. 5. When the army has few men, the terrain is inhospitable, the men and horses are tired and ill, and they are some distance away from any relieving army. And 6. When they have traveled far and it is nearing sunset, the soldiers are tired and afraid and have not eaten, so they have taken off their armor and are at rest. 7. When the commanders or officials do not have any authority, the soldiers are unruly, the army as a whole is nervous and has no relief force nearby. 8. When the army only has unstable formations, the camp is not yet set up for the night, or when the army is moving across a slope or mountain pass and is half exposed. In all of the above situations, you must attack at once, right? Without divination. And so we'll finish this up, but there are 6 scenarios in which you should retreat without any need to use divination. Okay, so before we do that, so these 8 ways, these 8 situations that you can attack without divination is why it's important. It's like, this is when we know. Now, of course, we've got to think art of war wise too. Um, what part of this could be set up by the enemy to lure you into complacency? But at the same time, these are all very good ways to either understand weakness within yourself, right? Like at the end of the day, you've been marching all day, you're tired, right? You've taken your metaphorical armor off, and you're ready to eat. And then that, like, when that's why that kind of reminds me of like growing up, right? When the telemarketers would call around dinner time back when we had landlines. Um, so yeah, I just got blown up by 3 texts. All right. So the 6 scenarios in which you need to retreat immediately in large countries with large populations. 2. Where the ruler loves his subjects and the people are widely blessed. 3. Where the government's policies are authoritative and justice is transparent and orders are swiftly obeyed. 4. Where lower ranking soldiers can distinguish themselves and move to the top of the army, and where the ruler employs wise advisors. Hungry people. Oof. 5. Where there are large armies full of well equipped crack troops. A lot of these are very interesting. They're very interesting to think of too, in like on a national scale in today's day and age, about the U.S., um, our policies now, how justice is not as quite transparent, and it is kind of murky these days. And number 6, where the state in question has allies all around in the support of a greater state. In all of the above situations, you are no match for the enemy. You must retreat without question. To handle these situations, you must know how to advance or retreat according to your strength relative to the enemies. And that just goes back to that one verse in the Art of War where Sun Tzu talks about it's okay to compare yourself to the enemy army. You have to, right, to use this divination of like whether or not you can win. Is the strategy and is the way that you're thinking even logical, right? Because you're not going to be the kind of general who sends in all of your troops to die all for something that is illogical. So you have to think these things through consistently. And having these kind of guidelines, these more concrete guidelines in the Wu Zi, gives us that ability to study those and not have to think when the time comes and we encounter those in the real world. All right. Now we're moving on to the Daily Stoic, a book by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. February 9th. You don't have to have an opinion. We have the power to hold no opinion about a thing and to not let it upset our state of mind. The things have no natural power to shape our judgments. Things have no natural power to shape our judgments. Marcus Aurelius, Meditation 6.52. Here's a funny exercise. Think about all the upsetting things you don't know about. stuff people might have said about you behind your back, mistakes you have made that never came to your attention, things you dropped or lost without even realizing it. What's your reaction? You don't have one because you don't know about it. In other words, it is possible to hold no opinion about a negative thing. You just need to cultivate that power instead of wielding it accidentally, especially when having an opinion is likely to make us aggravated. Practice the ability of having absolutely no thoughts about something. Act as if you had no idea it ever occurred, or that you have never heard of it before. Let it become irrelevant or non existent to you. It will be a lot less powerful this way. Okay, so there's like two sides of this because, like, you have to care about things. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Otherwise, you're not going to get things done. And otherwise, you can't make strategic, tactical decisions about your army, right? Your family, your emotions, yourself, your well being, right? Your army. And at the same time, though, you can let these little things really derail big plans. And it's about this practicing this skill of like what is truly important and what is not. What losses do we need to focus on and what losses are trivial, right? Because, and we do have to think also things. He is talking about things in this. You know, we're not talking about the loss of loved ones or family members or things like that. We're talking about physical things, which mostly can be replaced. I mean, for the most part, can be replaced. And even if not, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because that's not it shouldn't matter because it shouldn't be defining you, right? It shouldn't be defining your persona and everything like that. So kind of a waning end, but I think that was a good one, a good reflection. Hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next one.